Isn't it interesting when we just sit in the silence, what might come up for us? There's a lot in the world that demands our attention, that we like to let demand our attention, I think. We want to feel useful, or we feel we have certain responsibilities. And sure, in some cases we have other lives, depending on ours. But I want to invite you for a moment into the I don't know, into the unknown. Because there's a lot of that making itself available right now. And the natural mystic in each one of us wishes to access the unknown and make it known. It's a craving, I feel, that we have deep in our souls. Even in that moment, someone just walked in to ask me a question that was an unknown, wanting to be made known. That's constantly what we are wanting to do, is make the unknown known. It's almost like we've become obsessed with it, though. And so my invitation now is to just sit with the unknown, with the things you don't know about life, reality, all of it. And what's interesting about that invitation is it does lead us into a womb-like space. Because even if we had some idea of what we were doing when we decided to make this journey onto planet Earth, if ever we put our consciousness into the womb, even now, we can feel the unknown. Oh my goodness. Woo! That felt like a big release. Which is what wants to happen when you go into the unknown. There wants to be some discharge, some release of that energy, some movement. I also just dusted this entire house today, so there's a lot of dust in the air. It was a big project. There's probably a lot of really simple, unknown things in your reality right now you can just be with. Maybe it's even, I don't know, what's in the back of my closet. And those kind of things we're usually okay with not knowing, right? We're like, I don't know and I don't want to know, or I'm not going to approach that right now. Because on some level we know what it is. And then that's partially true about reality as well. It is true on a soul level, even though it's the unknown. On some level we do know. We've just not allowed ourselves to go there, to expand into that possibility and to feel comfortable with what information might be coming forward from that space, right? But I'm definitely feeling this calling, this beckoning into the unknown right now. To find out how we might make a place there. And then, of course, our presence sitting with the unknown will make it known, will light it up. Will bring forward what's in the depths of our souls that wants to be here, that wants to be seen. And so that's my challenge today, is just sitting with what is the I don't know and not trying to know. if you've ever noticed just being in the state of observation with life, just like, I wonder how this is going to go, this curious space does invite the unveiling. And it's just a matter of time. Also knowing that our energy is what's unveiling it. Our curious observer energy is what's unveiling it. We're like, okay, I'm in the unknown right now. I'm going to be with that. And allow that to move reality. I also suggest that a lot of things that are supposedly known, think about how they came to be. Recognize and realize that it's just other beings being with what has been experienced, and then maybe documenting or sharing it, and then of course that maybe being translated and shared in alternate versions. That's what's supposedly known, right? Other people's inspirations, other people's ideas, other people's movements in reality, that maybe they sat with the unknown before that, but now we're at a space-time pocket, if you will, in reality, where we get to sit with the unknown again. And there is like this energy of reinvention. Like, what wants to be reinvented? What wants to morph and change its dynamic to support a deeper knowing that wants to come forth? And so in many ways, this unknown is a death place. I mean, death is maybe the biggest unknown, the biggest mystery that we face regularly as live humans, right? Those being alive here. And yet we know life and death are part of the same. We see the flowers, live and die and bloom again. We see this with all of nature and the seasons. We also see it in our own cycles. Women see it monthly on a menstrual cycle, the sloughing off and the dying of old tissue and the renewal again of new energy and possible new life. So we're familiar with this process. And yet it's still a mystery. What is behind it? What is running this thing? What is the reasoning behind the dissolution, right? Well, we know that new life wants to spring forth. When we're cleaning something, we know we want to have something fresh in there eventually. Maybe right in that moment, maybe we are cleaning something out and so we can fill it up. That is true of life as well. And honestly, you can take all the time that you need. I know there's astrology moving, but we're each on our own soul cycle, our own individual relationship with the planets. So even if we get a general collective reading, which I totally love and honor those doing that, and like I can look at a chart too and see a lot, though I'm not that's not my regular only thing that I focus on. But I do know that we're each unique individual creations that are constantly going through life-death life cycle, a transformation process, always in bloom, always in shedding and renewal on some level. And the more that we embrace and accept that, the more that kind of drops us into a 0 point where it's almost like indistinguishable anymore, one to the other. Even though, yes, we can take a while to focus on a shedding or a dissolution if we want to. If we want to magnify that with our attention and enjoy that process. Because it's a beautiful process as well to go through a shift, a change, and to notice all the parts that are moving away. And sometimes we want to rush to the birthing phase, although I would suggest, as a woman who's given birth, that even though labor can be an uncomfortable time, there's nothing else like that in your life, in the world. There's nothing else quite like the experience of laboring. So I wouldn't hurry too fast to get through it. I would just conjure the strength and the presence needed. That would be my suggestion to myself, were I to ever go down that path again, and even to my past self. And I can think back when I was birthing my first son, a moment when I thought, I just can't do this. I just don't know how I'm going to do this anymore. And knowing that as a theme, a consistent feeling in birthing mothers, that the transition period is called, that time when you just think you can't. It's just not going to go forward, that you don't know how to get out of it. And in that moment, for me, I know I invoked my ancestors. I invoked all those who'd ever been through. I invoked the process of birthing to strengthen me. And I realized in this moment I invoked this me, the future me that knew already that everything was fine. We already did it. We did great. And that's true in our timelines as well. We've already done it. It's already great. We're already in the new earth. We already made the transition. From the future, you can know it all happened. The evolution, the ascension process happened and is continuing to happen, because that's the schedule of planet Earth. That's the schedule of you, why you came for this. So even though the invitation is to sit in the I don't know, remember there is that part of you that does know. To tap in and tune into and trust that part. And throw a line to that part of you and say, hey, I'm ready to really feel and know the intuitive prompts as I get them, to follow those all the way to you. All right, I'm sending my love to you. I hope that your day and your week and your now is a beautiful, awe-inspiring moment of just being with what is and trusting.